Happy Tuesday. This is the Pitch Strike Chronicles. I am Uncle Tats. I am here with Rob and Donald, who is enjoying the sun, some family time. And when it comes to having some time with the family, there's really no better than a holiday weekend, especially when you get to hang out with some family, reflect on family that might not be anymore. So we do continue to send our thoughts to all the servicemen and women who were not here. And we remember why we always have this Memorial Day to reflect on the good times. But there are a lot of good times at the stadium over the weekend before we get to last night's game. And we were able to take 2 or 3 out of the Padres. And when you're looking at the way that this team is kind of really handling their business, because that Padres lineup is really not a joke. They have some really big stars on that team that just haven't clicked yet. And when you're seeing that, they were putting some runs up, it wasn't an easy series. If you had to think of one thing of why just on that Padres team that they're just really not clicking, is it just so much star power that Eagles are getting in the way, or it's just not blending?
I really don't know. Having Machado hurt doesn't help, but he wasn't really playing up to his standards either. Tatis has been fine. Soto's been fine, but that's really it. Cronenworth hasn't played necessarily well. They're a team that was expected to win a whole lot of games, and they haven't really done that yet. Now, a lot can change. They can catch fire, but I think we saw them at a good time when their offense wasn't really clicking. Had they had Machado healthy, it may have been a completely different series. He hits very well in the Bronx, so I don't know what it is. They got a hell of a team over there, and if it doesn't get going, they could be a team that might sell off a couple of pieces. Maybe Soto becomes available again next year if they don't want to pay him, but they got a lot of money invested into that team. They just paid Bogarts. They were willing to pay Judge an enormous amount of money to try to get him over there. So I don't know. I don't know what the problem is. I don't know if it's too much star power, because how can you can never really have too much star power, especially in this sport. But yeah, it's puzzling, because I thought they'd be a hell of a lot better than they are right now.
Yeah, Donald, what do you think about it?
I put a lot of it down to pitching. Their pitching's not been great, and I think that was one of the things that the Yankees really took advantage of for a large part. Beat up on their pitching.
Yeah, and having Judge on our side of the roster, was definitely a plus for us, because we've been talking about since he came off the IL how he has just been unstoppable, and it really is continuing. So it's really good to see that that Judge is just kind of back into his rhythm. He's trying to either match or do better than last year, which is insane to even think about. But he's on pace again to hit 50 or more. And one of the things you notice with Judge's swing, he's not trying to hit the ball out of the park. It's just his pure power just carries the ball. And another player that you're starting to see his at-bats, the numbers might not be there, but it's starting to get I'm starting to notice a difference in his swing is LeMahieu, where you're starting to see he's trying to go with the pitch a lot more than just put the ball in play. He's trying to find that hole in the field to either get it into the gap or just get skirted through the infield. Is DJ one of those guys that we just really shouldn't put too much of a emphasis on, that he doesn't have the right numbers, that it's just DJ, it's gonna come together?
He's striking out too much for my liking. If his strikeout rate wasn't double from what it was last year, I wouldn't be too concerned, but he may just be getting unlucky. BABIP plays a factor in a lot of these things, but he's swinging and missing a lot. And he's always been a ground ball guy, but he's been hitting into a lot more ground balls this year. So the contact is weaker. It's less contact in general. But over the last few days, he's been having a little bit better at bats, but it is a little bit I'm not going to be overly concerned about him. I think he'll turn around. He did this last year. He had a kind of a slow start, then picked it up before he got hurt. But yeah, it is alarming that his strikeout rate is double. That needs to drop. He needs to go back to being a line drive hitter because we don't care if he hits 270, but if that OPS is up there and he's able to do what DJ usually does, then we're not going to be concerned. But that strikeout rate, he's the one player in the lineup that you just don't want to see strike out. You're going to live with it with Judge and Stanton and Rizzo if Rizzo does strike out because you know they're good for the power. Yeah. But LeMahieu, he's not a power bat, so you need those strikeout numbers to go down.
What's your take on LeMahieu, Don?
This is not the same LeMahieu as we've had in the past. There is something up. I mean, he was only 1 for 5 yesterday, so it wasn't like he was beating the cover off the ball. Yeah, he hit that opposite field home run, which was really important the other day. But in general, I've been unimpressed with him. And I'm saying that as a huge DJ LeMahieu fan, as a guy that wishes there was more DJ LeMahieu's in our team in terms of that uncorruptible swing that he's got where he's able to line drive the ball and be one of the clutchest hitters in baseball. That's his normal MO, but we aren't seeing that right now. And I don't know whether it's age. I don't know whether it's injury. I don't know whether it's a toe injury. I don't know quite what it is, but this is not the same DJ LeMahieu. As Rob points out, he's striking out more than he has in the past. And his swing isn't as infallible as it has been in the past. So, I mean, his defense is still there. That's good. Yeah. But I'm just wondering whether the injuries have slowed him down and maybe slowed his swing down just a tenth of a second, because it seems to be the difference. Because he's missing pitches that he normally hits into the gap. So, like, I'm a huge DJ LeMahieu fan. I'm going to continue to ride with him. I'm going to ride with him until he's no longer a Yankee. And I love the way he plays baseball. He is legitimately, when he's like on, he's legitimately one of the best hitters in baseball. But he's not shown it this year, and he didn't show it last year. So, patience is running a little bit with him.
I think it's something to keep an eye on, but as I was saying, I'm gonna, I'm paying attention, but I'm not worried about a guy with DJ's, baseball IQ. I really think it's once he makes this one more adjustment, I think everything is just going to fall back into place, and we're going to get the guy that we've been waiting for, and the strikeouts will start to minimize. But let's get to the chat real quick. You see everybody's kind of hanging out, bullshitting back and forth. So we got Mazza in the chat as always. Good morning, Mazza. We got Jonathan hanging. We got FJ. What's going on? Good morning. And who else is in here? It's all right. So let's get to some of the comments itself. All right. And there was one. Jonathan was curious about any updates on Bader. There really hasn't been anything. And let me tell you, if we lose Bader for any period of time, that's going to be that's going to suck. It really is, because we're going to get stuck with a lot of with some outfielders that we really are not looking forward to seeing in the outfield. I think it was more precautionary before. It's like Bader took himself out of the game. It's not like he was trying to push it. Which I think was really a smart move by Bader. What do you think about with the way Bader came out of the game yesterday?
It was quick, like you said. There was no discussion. Like the second he took that step, beating out the single, and they checked on him, he came right out. But he wasn't limping or anything. He didn't look like he was in serious pain. Although after the game, Boone said they don't think it's that serious, but they're not going to rule out an IL stint, which means he's probably going on the IL. I think it might be the best option, because we saw it with Judge. Even though they thought he was okay, they didn't want to push it. Bader's been too good to lose. So if we have to IL him for 10 days and they give the center field position to Greg Allen and they have Judge play center field again, Bowers and Calhoun have been hitting better lately, so at least you won't lose the offense too much, but Bader's defense is too good to miss. So you got to make sure he's 100%. I'm hoping it's just like a 1 or 2 day thing and they don't have to IL him, but I don't know. With the Yankees injury history and how they say, oh, it's not that bad, ends up being really bad. I don't want to make any assumptions about it. I'm just going to cross my knock on wood that he's okay, and we don't lose him for too long.
With hamstrings, it's very tricky, and any kind of strain, at best, you're looking at 2 weeks out. At worst, you're looking at 2 months out. And if he misses 2 months, then put a fork in the Yankees. They're done. It's as simple as that. Because if you want to look at the three offensive guys that have, not just offensive, but just three guys that have just carried this team, it would be Judge, Rizzo, and Bader, in my opinion. Like, Bader's like, I mean, obviously discounting the pitching, Garrett Cole's an entity into himself, but like in terms of everyday players, those are the three guys that have carried this team. And also, if Bader's out for any kind of, even if a week or so, we're going to miss his energy because he's that spark plug. You know, he'll steal bases. He's got that kind of cool partnership with Aaron Judge where they kind of play off each other and stuff like that. Got a great energy. He's a high IQ guy. I mean, he's quickly becoming one of the heart and souls of this ball club. We can't afford to lose him for any kind of period of time. And that's a big problem with the way the Yankees are constructed, that they're so reliant on a guy who's been injured a lot. He's been injured a lot in his career, and he's been injured a lot as a Yankee already. And but when he's on, by God, he's so freaking good. I think he's quickly becoming one of our most important pieces, our third most important everyday player.
Yeah, no, he's definitely he's part of the foundation of the offense, but he's also and it's also partly the defense. We were talking about it last week, Rob and I, how he reads the ball off the bat so well. When it gets hit to center field, it's 99% of the time you can exhale because he's going to reach the ball. So you don't get that in center field a lot. There are a handful of guys that like, all right, with defense, you don't have to really worry about. He's in that category. So losing him, or if he's not able to go full speed, running after the ball, it could cause a little bit putting a little more pressure on the pitchers with traffic on the bases. So I think giving Bader just a couple of days, seeing how it goes. Same thing with Rizzo. I think the two of them were just going to get a couple of days. I don't foresee any IL stint for either one of them because they didn't hesitate to just pull them out of the game. It was kind of like, let's just get me off the feet.
Well, as Rob says, man, I don't know. You don't know. I mean, it depends on how the scan goes. We have to hope that it goes okay. But even still, it's looking like he'll probably have to miss a couple of games at best, just to kind of, at worst, just to kind of rest him a little bit. But I'm very concerned because his defense is incredible, man. He saves a bunch of runs a day with the way that range that he's got in center field. It's incomparable, really. He's so important to this team.
Now, let's bring it back to Aaron Judge, the captain, the MVP. If you were watching yesterday's game, it was you would have thought that he's been hitting like that, when his numbers in Seattle are insane. They were showing the graphic on there. I think he's batting over 350. He's got, I think, 9 or 10 home runs in the stadium now. He kills it in San Diego. So Seattle. And he was not only at the plate was he just destroying all the hopes for the fan base, but also robbing the home run. And the way he was able to read that ball and get up, and he got. I mean, that's the advantage of having a 6'7" outfielder. That's as athletic as he is. He's not just your power bat. He brings so many different tangibles into the game that he can shut an offense down just with his glove, not just shutting everything down with his bat.
Yeah. I don't know how many times we have to say it, but I'll say it until I can't speak anymore. He's the best player in baseball, and it's not even close anymore. Brian Hoke put it on Twitter yesterday. Multi-home run games in Yankee history: Babe Ruth, Mickey Mantle, Lou Gehrig, Joe DiMaggio, Aaron Judge. Those are your top 5.
Ho, ho, ho.
So he's already past names like A-Rod, Tino, like Giambi, all these different guys that have been big power bats for us and have had multi-home run games, Bernie Williams, the list goes on and on. And the fact that he's in the top 5 with the likes of Mantle, Maris isn't even on that list of the top 5.
My God.
Like, it's insane. So if by the time it's all said and done, you could be putting his face on a Yankee Mount Rushmore. Yeah. Like, that's just how good he's been. He's putting himself into elite company. And he's only been here since 2017, essentially. It hasn't been that long that he's been in the major leagues. And then you look at the fact that he's robbing home runs. Like, they've had some weird stats, like the 4th time he's done that, where he's hit a home run and robbed the home run in the same game. I don't know how you track that, but they did. He's incredible. He runs the bases well for a guy his size. His defense is one of the best in baseball. He's a Gold Glove caliber player at 2 different positions, and I'm sure he can do it in left field as well if they needed him to. And he's the captain for a reason. He got the money for a reason, and he's been worth every single penny. Missed 10 games, and he still leads the American League in home runs, and he's on pace to once again hit 50 or more. Like, he's a walking 50 home run season. He can sleep to his way. He can sleep his way to 50 home runs if he wanted to.
Yeah.
And he's doing this when we don't really have a fully healthy gelling lineup yet. There's still a lot of holes in here, and Aaron Judge is killing pitching. Like, they have to pitch to him right now, whereas last year in August they couldn't pitch to him. Now, again, he's just proven every Yankee fan's point when they say Aaron Judge is the best player in baseball. Watch last night's game. Watch what he did in Toronto. Watch what he's done since coming off the IL. It's been an insane run. And it's the reason why the Yankees are in a playoff spot once again.
Yeah, wait. Go ahead, Donald. I lost my thought.
All right. Get that coffee. Where's your Pinstripe Chronicles coffee? Get some. There you go. There's really no debate now. And Aaron Judge is the best player in baseball. There wasn't much debate last year either. But what he's doing is just, it's mind-blowing. And we can't take it for granted. Like, we are absolutely blessed to be in this period to watch another possible Mount Rushmore Yankee. We've already just seen one with Derek Jeter for over 20 years. And after Jeter was gone, the real question was like, when are we going to get the next Yankee, which is going to do something historic and be historic? And God, we didn't have to wait very long.
Okay.
And it's really remarkable. We obviously he's a captain, but so he saved a home run with a ridiculous jump, showing off like my God, like he jumped like a basketball player, and got an incredible glove, saved a home run, and he's just crushing home runs just for fun. And I mean, that Toronto game where it looked like he was competing with himself as to seeing exactly how many parts of the Toronto ballpark that he could destroy. I love that. And now he's gone out on the West Coast, and now he's doing it to Seattle. He beat up on the Padres, the Yankee Stadium. This is just what he does, man. This is what he does. But we can't take it for granted. We are absolutely blessed. But this idea that there's anyone else that compares to him in baseball, there isn't. There really isn't. I mean, just for all the things that he brings. Now, Pete Alonso leads the majors in home runs with 20, right? Good for him. Congratulations. But he's only batting like 220. Aaron Judge is batting about 300 with almost as many home runs. He had 60-plus home runs last year. He's got Gold Glove defense in 2 positions. There's no one that compares. Not no Ohtani, nobody. So, I mean, we are absolutely blessed, and it's just really hard to even quantify what he brings to this Yankee team on a daily basis. Like last year, he was the only reason why they even made the playoffs, right? Let alone the ALCS. he carried that team. I think Rizzo himself said last year there'd be a fourth-place team without him. And this year, you could make the argument they wouldn't even be a 500 team. Let alone 10 games above 500 without Aaron Judge. Like, he's that important. I think it's very difficult to quantify. I don't even think WAR gives justice to how important Aaron Judge is. Just a remarkable player, remarkable professional, and true Yankee.
Yeah, they put the graphic on the screen on yesterday with the top five, top six players with WAR. I think he was the only one that had a double-digit WAR at this point in the season. It's just insane. But DC threw this comment in, and it reminded me that's what I wanted to get into. When you're looking at the lineup last night, you're looking at Calhoun behind Judge. You're scratching your head. Donald, I know you voiced your opinion on Twitter. You were not happy about the lineup. But let's at least, even if it's just for one game, let's give a little credit to Calhoun for kind of having the game that he did so they couldn't pitch around Judge. Because you saw it after his first at bat, we're able to see that Calhoun and the lineup overall, but mostly because Calhoun was Judge's protection, that they were really reading that pitch. Miller, who has had a phenomenal season so far as a rookie, had his first, really crap game. And when you're getting guys like Calhoun and even Bowers, where they're not the names that you're looking for, you want to see in a lineup, but you're going to get them. The way that they were able to lay off a lot of the all-speed pitches, they weren't overreaching in the zone. They were sitting on that fastball, and that's why they were able to capitalize on a lot of their bats. Got his pitch count up really high at one point. But Calhoun's focus at the plate yesterday was so beneficial to Judge having the game that he did. I think it really does go hand in hand.
Willie Calhoun can bang. Is that what Aaron Boone said way back? And we laughed about it, right? We were like, this guy can't hit. But look, he's played in 30, 31 or so games like that. He's a 250 hitter right now. His OPS is over 730, which isn't terrible. It's not great, but he's doing what the Yankees wanted Aaron Hicks to do.
Yeah.
Right? They wanted Aaron Hicks to be around 730 or higher OPS, have some pop, get on base. He's doing all those things. And this is a guy that was a minor league signing. So I'm going to give him credit. It's credit where it's due. He's playing a lot better than I could have thought. I thought he should have made the team out of the spring. He had a good spring doing with Cordero, and that obviously didn't go well. Calhoun struggled at the start, but over his last 7 games, he's been on fire. And I think him and Bowers last night kind of both having big games is interesting because one of them is going when we get Stanton back, assuming Bader isn't on the IL. But if everything goes well there, when we get Donaldson back, I think it's going to be Oswaldo Cabrera that gets sent down, and we could talk about that if we want to. But then when Stanton comes back, one of those two is getting cut, and it's going to have to be a waiver. And I don't know if the Yankees can afford to lose Calhoun right now because he's been the better of the two. If you look at him and Bowers, Calhoun's been the better of the two. I don't know if you lose him right now. It depends on who they like more. But I'm going to give him credit because Calhoun's been a lot better than I could have thought. And the fact that he was a minor league signing, outplaying a guy making $10 million who just got DFA'd and released, I'm going to give him some credit. I think it was I think he knows this is might be his last chance to make something, and maybe he goes elsewhere and hits. Who knows? But I'm going to give him some credit. It's only 30 games, but he's played a lot better. And the fact that he was the protection for Judge last night, and he wasn't an easy out. Had a good game. I'll give him credit.
Yep.
Calhoun's really weird. It's really hard to watch him because he looks a little bit goofy with the oversized helmet, and it looks like he's just kind of picked up off the bench, and he's just kind of come on as on one of those movies, and sometimes he swings out of his shoes, and he looks a little bit goofy, right? But then he centers up on a ball and absolutely crushes it. And you're like, damn, where did that come from? And that's Willie Calhoun. He just looks a little awkward, looks a little goofy sometimes. His swing looks bad. Some of his at-bats are some of the worst you'll ever see. and then the next at bat he'll absolutely crush it, and he'll square up on a ball consistently. And listen, I don't think he's a good player, but he's done his job. I have to give him credit. I did want him called up from spring. I thought he deserved to get the job from spring, and he's obviously got a decent major league bat off the bench. Now he can't play any defense, so we're kind of limited as to what we can really do with him. But he's done a good job. Again, he's a weird guy to evaluate. I wouldn't call him a good player yet, but he's done his job, and that's more than what we could say for Aaron Hicks for years. He's already done more than Aaron Hicks has in about 3-4 years. So, hey, I'll give him credit, man. He had a good game yesterday. Still think of the lineup yesterday was goofy as hell, but that's just the way the Yankees do things. But Aaron Judge made sure that it wasn't an issue.
Yeah, this was something else that they were talking about in the broadcast was, they were comparing, with Judge and Alonso, and, both New York power bats is really kicking the season off on the right foot for their teams. I think that Judge would have more than Alonso if it wasn't for the IL stint. I think that's safe to say with the way that he's been playing, but at the same time, was that 10-day rest what he needed to kind of recalibrate and regroup, refocus, and just put together much better at bats?
I mean, they were just making sure he wasn't. If they would have played him with an injury, he could have gotten even more hurt. I think it was just precaution because he wasn't playing poorly. I mean, the Yankees were losing games, but he was still hitting. And yeah, had he played those 10 games, he might at least be tied with Alonso. Who knows? But I don't really think it matters what Pete Alonso does because at the end of the day, the Mets are still hovering just slightly above 500 or below. I don't know where they are. I'll take Aaron Judge every single day of the week over him because we're winning. We're in a playoff spot right now, and I think I don't know if the Mets are or not, but I couldn't care less about the Mets. Good if Pete Alonso wants to hit 59 home runs, if he wants to hit 63 this year, be like, I got one over Judge. Good for you. I don't care because 2, 3, 4 years ago they were saying Conforto was better than Judge, and he even put it on his jersey for the Players Weekend. We're always in their heads over there in Queens. So if that's what they want to do, compare their guy to our guy, have fun with it.
But that's kind of why I compared the two because, you're looking at his power numbers, and it's fantastic. And Pete Alonso has been great, but Aaron Judge bats 70 to 80 points higher than him.
Yeah.
Plus hits as many home runs, and he'll probably end up with more home runs than Pete Alonso at the end of the day. That's why they're not really comparable players. Because Aaron Judge brings so much more. He brings that athleticism that is unparalleled for a big man. And he brings that defense, which, again, is almost unparalleled for a big man as well. So, he's just a freak. He's superhuman. I think Aaron Judge is Superman. I honestly do. I think he's a modern-day Superman.
Yeah, and DC, you're right. Yeah, his strikeouts are going down too at the same time. But the only way you could compare the two of them is the market they play in. They play in the New York market. That's really it. The other difference is Alonso only cares about how many home runs he hits or how well he does in the home run derby. Where Judge is like, all right, my only concern is getting my team to a win.
That's not fair. Come on. I mean, I know I don't really care for the Mets or anything, but let's not say Pete Alonso's selfish. I mean, I'm sure he doesn't want to lose, not in New York, because they're not going to let you forget about it. He could hit 70, and if they don't make the playoffs, they're going to be like, well, who cares?
Before we get to the pitching side, just real quick, if you liked what we're talking about, share this out. Let's get more people into the discussion. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button for us. It'll help with the algorithm. The other thing is on Saturday, Mazza and I had our debut of the Pinstripe Express, where we were merging the two channels to give you guys a different type of content. It went really well, and Mazza somehow over the weekend was able to set it up where June 5th from 6 to 6:30, we'll be interviewing Scott Braun from the MLB Network. So make sure you hit the notification bell. The show will be on this channel for that show. And then on Saturday, the show will be back on the 4-Train Express. So we're going to try to alternate to give both audiences and channels some love. So make sure you hit the notification bell. So, and we'll be setting the stream up soon, so you guys can even jump into the chat, ask us some questions. And so let's get back to the pitching now. All right, we had the return of Herman. Where I almost want to just call him Germ, because he really is. He's somebody you don't want near you. What do we take away from his return on it? Because he wasn't as sharp as he was when he was getting, messing with the sticky shit.
Exactly. Shocked, right?
Well,
yeah, right.
It's like he's without sticky stuff, he's a fine number 5 starter, bullpen arm maybe. He was nothing special last year, but he was just fine for his role. But he went on this run over his last 4 starts, and you're like, wow, he's pitching really well. And then he conveniently gets, suspended. And then he comes back from it. I know it's been 10 days since he's pitched, but he just starts walking batters. His stuff isn't there. Aaron Boone now decides to leave him in for too long after taking him out early when he was pitching well. That's another conversation. But he's like a Von Nova without the sticky stuff. He's just like good middle of the pack.
Yeah.
He's okay, but he's nothing special. And I think that's fine for the bottom of your rotation. Because assuming we do get Rodon back, let's say around the All-Star break, you can probably take Schmidt out and Herman becomes your number 5 and you can live with that. But I don't know. It's just funny that he had a great start, gets suspended. Next thing you know, he's pitching very mediocre. And he's like, well, maybe he was cheating all along. But then again, he was able to pass every other inspection during his other good starts. So you really don't know what the hell's going on with him. But he's also not a good pitcher in general. So it's not unexpected that he goes from having a good start to a not so good start. We'll just have to see. If he goes out there next game and pitches well, passes all the inspections, you're like, all right, well, this is just what he is. He's a guy who's probably going to give you like a high 3, maybe low 4 ERA, and you live with it until you replace him.
I think Ivan Nova is an excellent comparison. I do. I think that like with the sticky stuff, he looks unhittable, but this is him. I think what we saw yesterday is more him. I think that's who he more is. I think he's more of a guy that gives up 4 runs a game, maybe 5 on a bad day. He'll never absolutely lampoon you out of a game, but I mean, without the sticky stuff, I don't think he's someone that you can rely on, and I don't think they should be relying on him anyway. It's just for all the problems that he has caused this Yankee organization over the years. I'm amazed that the Yankees have been this tolerant. Absolutely amazed, because they've been less tolerant for a lot better players than him. So it's a real weird one with Herman. But listen, if he gives you a solid outing every 5 days, then you can't complain too much. But like, I'm still not over the fact that he was basically caught cheating. And that's what he did the last time. And he's very lucky he did get a serious suspension. And he's very lucky that the Yankees are a very forgiving organization.
What makes it even more puzzling with yesterday with him is we're watching it from our point of view. And we're like, wow, his breaking ball, his breaking stuff wasn't really that crisp. He was having trouble really hitting hitting the corners with the fastball and the changeup. But his line really wasn't that bad. He wasn't getting shelled. They were getting a lot of, he was getting a lot of soft contact, if anything. I think it was also the impatience of Seattle's bats that really gave Herman the advantage to go a little deeper into the game, because it wasn't, his pitch count was fine. It wasn't like he was hitting 100 mark and they pushed him for another extra inning. His pitch count was going into the 7th. I think he was at 77 or 78 pitches, which is not terrible. So I could see them wanting to, if they were going to be flailing at everything he was throwing, might as well push it, keep throwing it until they figure it out. And I think the right move was to Marinaccio, not going to Abreu until later on. But I just think that Herman is who he's going to be. He's going to be your like we've been saying, your fifth starter. He's going to put up 3 or 4 runs, get you to the 6th inning, and then you move into the bullpen.
He should have never have gone into the 7th. I mean, his line wasn't very good, in my opinion. But it also wasn't terrible for a 5th starter. Like, if Clark Schmidt was giving you that, you'd be okay with it right now, considering. But he's had a really good month of May. You wonder what's been anchored by sticky stuff, chewing tobacco, whatever he wants to say it was. And you wonder what isn't anchored by it. We don't know. We really don't know. But the fact that one thing we do know is he was thrown out of the game. Whether you like the rule or not, he was suspended. And we did win the game that he pitched. So we knew he was coming back. We knew they weren't going to cut him. If this is what we get from him, I would prefer he doesn't give up 4 runs a game. But, hey, if you can give me 6 and give up 4 or 3 runs, that at least keeps you in the game, that's fine. Again, I don't want him here long term by any means, but he's not anything special, you know. But if he can give you length, that's one thing I will say. He's a guy that could potentially give you 6 every single start because, like you said, his pitch count was low. He ended with, I think, under 90. But I just don't know why in his previous starts we saw Boone take him out when he was dealing, right? He was dealing, and you're like, why are you taking him out? And then last night he left him in when he was clearly not dealing. He got roughed up in the 6th and got lucky to get out of that. And thank God Marinaccio was able to get out of that jam because Aaron Boone loves to bring his bullpen arms into difficult situations. He's a masochist. He just likes punishment, I guess. I don't know what it is, but thankfully Marinaccio was the move, and Marinaccio got those 2 outs, showed some fire for the first time. I don't think I've ever seen him show emotion.
No.
But and then Abreu was lucky that Aaron Judge was in right field because that would have been another run he gave up in his long list this year. I don't know. Herman, number 5 starter at best. He's not really worth the long conversation, but considering he was just suspended, obviously you need to talk about him.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Well, you know, Damian points out that, the bullpen's absolutely taxed. That's why they left him in. I think that's why. I think if it was a tighter game than it was at that point, maybe he would have had a quicker hook. So there could be a couple different variables that come into it of why the arms were managed the way they were. But one of the other arms that we really, we need to get back in on the right track is Cortez going tonight. What do we do with how do we evaluate next to season this year? Because I kind of think he's on the verge of going into that seesaw where it's going to be one good, one bad, one good, one bad.
He's the best 4-inning pitcher in the league. That's what I guess you could say about him this year. Once he gets into the 5th, you don't know. I would say if you can get 18 outs, we talked about this last week. If he can get you 18 outs, he gets you through those first 2 turns of the order. I don't care if he's given up 2 hits. Do you think about taking him out? No, you probably leave him in, right? And if he gives up a walk to the first batter in that 3rd turn through, you yank him immediately. You take him out as soon as possible. Don't prolong it because Michael Kay had a very good point. In the last start, they left Cortez in. Had they taken him out and not let him try the 3rd turn through the order, be like, why'd you take him out of the game? That's such a terrible decision. But because you left him in, he struggled. You're like, oh, you should have took him out. It was really a no-win scenario. So if he gets you those 18 outs, let's say it's 5-6 innings, he gives up 1 or maybe no runs or 2 runs, and you're in the game, you live with that. You probably think about going to your bullpen, but if his pitch count's low, you at least let him try that 3rd turn through. But the first sign of trouble, you got to take him out, and you got to figure out what it is. Is it that injury that happened way back in the spring that's still kind of hampering him from throwing too many innings? Because he is coming off of a career high in innings. Maybe it's something like that. He just doesn't have the stamina for it. But he's really good the first few innings, and then he's just really bad the next 3. 5th and 6th inning, he's terrible. 1 through 4, he's really good. They got to figure something out.
Yeah. God, Don.
So with with him, I think it's a mixture of adjusting to the new way of pitching with the pitch clock, because I do think a lot of his success recently was with the different kind of windups that he had, and his different deliveries and the different motions and the different arm angles. And that's been curtailed a little bit because he needs to get that ball out quicker. So I think that element of deception has definitely been affected. The next thing is I have to give credit to the scouts of the rest of the league, because they've keyed up on him. Like, they're keyed up on his cutter. His cutter is one of his put away pitches, is one of his get me over pitches. And they've been doing a much better job of sitting on it and doing damage with it. So it is a case of the league is kind of learning about him, and it's also an element of quickening up his pitch motion, and it has affected his nastiness. He's going to be fine. I think he'll give you a good 5 innings, maybe 6 on a good day. But yeah, I think there is cause for concern there, because he doesn't have a major league fastball. So a lot of it is about his deception and his IQ and intelligence on the mound, and using his cutter and using his off speed and staying ahead of batters. And he'll continue to induce soft contact. I'm never going to be worried about him like completely blowing up. I think he's a good pitcher. I think he's going to be a very solid, like a third starter or something like that. But yeah, I think it's kind of gone to the point now where he needs to now adjust to the league, because the league's adjusted to him. So the good thing about him, though, is he's done this before. Let's not forget, he's been passed around from pillar to post. He almost lost his job as a major league pitcher. He was in the minors. He was all over the place. And he came back and he learned how to get batters out. And I think he's going to do that again. It just might take a little bit of time adjusting to how the league has adjusted to him. But I have no doubt that he's going to readjust, and he's going to be absolutely fine. I like him. You need more nasty nesters, in my opinion. I love that he's a thinking pitcher. There's not a lot of that left in the league. He's kind of a throwback, and he'll be okay. But I do think there's reasons to be a little concerned right now, because of the fact that the league has kind of learned how to hit him.
Yeah, I think that you're on to something where he has to readjust to their adjustments. I think the pitch clock is a factor, but I also wonder if, because last season he threw his highest pitch, the highest innings he's pitched. Is he just running out of steam from never having to throw so much before? And then trying to do the World Baseball Classic and Winter Ball. Is he overworked himself where he, once he gets through the second, the fourth inning, like Rob said, does he just kind of lose a little bit of gas on his stuff? But it's just not as deceptive.
Well, analytics will tell you the third turn through the order is the most difficult for a starting pitcher to get through. That's why you only see nowadays a select few be able to get you through that. I mean, Marcus Stroman threw a complete game yesterday. No one could have thought that was going to happen. It's just not a lot of pitchers do it. You're talking about elite. And even nowadays, like some of the elite guys don't give you 7 or 8 innings or 9. When Garrett Cole did it a few years ago, you're like, holy crap, we got a complete game. Even from Garrett Cole, it wasn't expected. That's just how the game is nowadays. But the fact that the OPS jumps like 500 points in the third turn through against Nestor, it makes you wonder if he's just a 5-6 inning guy at best. And if that's fine, if that's your number 3, number 4 starter, you're going to take that. But especially in October, if you have a lockdown bullpen, you got to wonder what it is that's making it such a drastic difference, because the fact that they can't hit him in the first 2 turns and then all of a sudden they just like, well, now we got you. It's like, I know if you see a guy 3 times, your chances of hitting him are a lot better, but what is he doing differently the third turn through that they're like, got you now, and they're putting up 5 runs against him? Because like it was just so weird, because he was 1 inning away from being like, Nestor's back, and then it's just like, shit, he's not back because he gave up 5 runs and we blew that big lead. And we're talking, but that's still sticking in my brain right now, because that win could have been very big. We would have won 4 straight series or 3 straight series and had a 1-0 lead in this one. I don't know what it is. What is he doing differently? Is he tipping pitches? Is he just running out of steam? Is the velocity down? What is it?
Yeah, it's even Julietta says in the chat, Nasty's 1 inning away from being a genius again. It's not just the analytics saying it. We're seeing it with our eyes. That just he's not fooling anybody once they see him after going through the third time through the order. If you're going to be a starting pitcher, you need to be able to at least get through 3 times. You need to get those outs.
Not necessarily, because as Rob says, the analytics kind of tells you to start looking at warming up your bullpen the 3rd time around the order. So he doesn't need to go at least 3 times around the order. If he gives you 5 great innings, you're on to a winner. If he gives you 6, excellent. So I wouldn't expect too much more than that. I really do think that it's the fact that the league has wised up to the way that he pitches, and a lot of it is to do with his cutter. So he's going to have to readjust to the league, and I do think he will. I just think it might take a little bit of time, but there's going to be some good starts along the way, and I have no doubt that he's going to have a decent outing again today. I don't know what kind of outing he's going to have, but I think he's going to keep you in the game.
Yeah, no, I don't think that we'll be out of the game. Believe me, we need to win this series because we will not see Castillo, which is really a blessing. Because we'll see Gilbert tonight and then Kirby tomorrow. Who are not that they're terrible pitchers, but Castillo owns us. So the fact that we miss him is a blessing in disguise for this team trying to gain ground.
Yeah. I'm glad we're not facing Castillo. My goodness, Mariners have such a good staff, and that's without Robbie Ray too.
Yeah,
he's hurt, and they still got damn good pitching staff. And I'm curious as to why they're not really taking off this year either, because they should be in the running for that playoff for the division in the West. But I think if we can win tonight, that'd be huge because I know Clark Schmidt's been okay his last couple of starts, but I still don't trust him at all. I'm going to keep saying that until he completely shuts me up. Maybe that's a good luck charm because I said it last time. I said I don't trust Clark Schmidt one bit. He turned out a really good start last time out, so maybe that's what it is. Maybe I'll be his good luck. I don't know, the reverse jinx, but we need a good start from Nestor. If he gives you 6, keeps you in the ball game, that can be it. But you also want to show a little confidence in him because if you pull him immediately after 2 turns through, what's that going to do for the guy? It's basically Boone saying you're not going to be able to get an out. That the second you get the 18 outs, you're done. So I don't know if they want to do that to the guy. That's why they left him in last start. So again, it's you're in a tough position as a manager there. That's where you really can't blame the manager in that spot. So I don't know, but if he gets you through 6 and he's got a shutout, you can't pull him because then it's going to be like, how dare you? What are you thinking? But like I said earlier, he gives up 1 hit, you got to pull him because then it's going to spiral.
But I think the one advantage going into tonight and tomorrow is that Boone did not have to use his big guys at the end. We didn't have to use Peralta, we didn't have to use King, we didn't have to use Holmes. Not that Holmes is much more trustworthy. Let's put that out there. But at least we still have the core of our bullpen available, just in case, because you never know.
Yeah. Let's give a shout out to Marinaccio because he was so important to that win yesterday.
Yeah.
He got some key outs and ensured the dub. So he's so important, and our bullpen's done so well considering the circumstances, considering how much they've been used, considering the tax that is on them right now. They largely step up and do a great job. So Marinaccio's done his job, and we don't even have a closer, but we're still 10 games above 500, which is pretty impressive. Imagine if they actually respected the 9th inning. That would be even crazier. So I just think this bullpen's done a really terrific job by and large, apart from Holmes this year.
And Abreu.
And Abreu sucks. Can we get rid of Abreu?
I'm hoping.
I cannot stand that guy.
I'm hoping because we're getting Canely back in a few days. I'm hoping that we get that DFA news about Abreu. I think it's going to be Crook because we haven't used him yet, and we just called him up. It could be Crook. It could be Weber. And in the next month or so, we're going to have Canely. I don't think Weber's been fine. Weber's been what they want to be.
For some reason, they're freaking stuck on Abreu.
They need to get it
because they'll look at that outing. They'll look at the outing and his velocity and the way he was really hitting his. Because Abreu had one of his better outings yesterday, and that's what they're going to look at.
Yeah, but he would have been a home run if Aaron Judge isn't in right field. He would have given up another run. That's what I was saying earlier. Like he's not good. You can throw 98, but if you're throwing it from the mound to Antarctica, it doesn't matter. He's got no control. And when he does have control, he's leaving it right over the plate. His pitch to Hernandez was 97, I think, right over the middle. And it was a sinker. Guess where that's going to go? Over the wall. Luckily, we had Aaron Judge out there in right field.
Yeah.
He's bad. So he needs to go. We need to let Crook get some innings in there because he's a lefty. And if he's another lefty that can get you outs, we need another lefty. And then we have Hamilton coming back next month. And you can think about who that's going to be, whether it's Weber or somebody else, Cordero maybe. But yeah, even with the injuries, the bullpen has done its job. But there's been a couple of bad guys out there. Abreu is one of them. He's been terrible.
Luckily Aaron Judge is Superman. And Bader has saved a bunch of runs from Abreu last week. So it's Abreu is lucky that his ERA is actually not that bad. Because it actually should be a lot worse. Because basically every inherited runner that comes on when he comes in, he gives up instantly. But he doesn't get charged on the run, so it's okay. But it is his fault. He sucks. He's absolutely abysmal.
No, believe me, I am not making a case for Abreu. Never, ever, ever, ever. We've watched this organization manage this roster enough. Well, they won't look at the 10 games that they blew. They'll look at the one game that he was unhittable. See, that's what we're going to hold on to, right? It's that's how Cashman thinks. It sucks. But we're gonna we'll see how Nessa does. Hopefully, we don't. I don't think we'll see Abreu tonight because he did have a high pitch count yesterday, so that's a breath of fresh air. And we will be back tomorrow, right here, bright and early, 10 a.m. And just remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Follow us on all our social media. And as always, wear your pinstripe your pride and play hard.